It was the kind of night when the rain sounded like a broken heart, falling in heavy drops against the window pane. Maheen stood in the middle of her bedroom, staring at the wall as if it held the answer to every regret she carried. In her trembling hand was a photograph, 4 years old. A picture of her and her husband, Arhan, smiling, close, inseparable. But life changed. And so did she. She whispered to herself. Why didn't I understand him? Why didn't I trust him? Silence answered back. A year earlier, things were different. Maheen was sensitive, maybe too sensitive. Arhan, on the other hand, was calm, quiet, and focused on his work. He loved deeply but expressed little, and sometimes, silence can be misunderstood. One night, he came home late. Very late. His shirt smelled different, nothing romantic, just unusual. His eyes looked tired, drained. His phone had a new passcode. And Maheen's heart started spinning. She asked softly. Why so late? You didn't answer my calls. Arhan replied with the same gentle smile he always gave. Work. The meeting took longer than expected. But that night, something felt wrong. Something she couldn't explain. From that day on, Maheen watched everything. The smell on his clothes. His changing phone password. The receipts he kept in his pockets. Small things, but big enough to feed suspicion. One night, when he was in the shower, she picked up his phone. Her hands were shaking. Wrong password. Again. And again. Her heart whispered. He's hiding something. And her mind believed it. Then came the worst influence, her friend, Maheen. The kind of friend who adds flames to every fear. Maheen smirked and said. Maybe he's talking to someone else. Men do that, you know. Maheen felt her stomach drop. She tried to defend him. She tried to stay calm. But doubt is louder than truth. And louder than love. A week later, Arhan came home with that same unusual scent on his shirt. Nothing more than a strong hospital sanity. Hospital sanitizer, but Maheen didn't know that. And she snapped. This smell, whose is it? Arhan stopped. Confused. Maheen, it's nothing. We have a new air freshener at work. But Maheen didn't believe him. Her voice shook. Just tell me the truth. Who is she? For the first time ever, Arhan raised his voice. Maheen. Why do you twist every single thing? I can't keep explaining myself like this. It was the moment everything cracked. A single argument became a breaking point. The next morning, Arhan packed his office bag. Not much. Just the usual things. Before leaving, he said quietly. I'll be late, we'll talk tonight. And he walked out. But he didn't go to the office. Maheen watched him leave with a heart full of wrong assumptions. A heart blinded by fear. Arhan went straight to the hospital. Because for the last 6 months, he had been fighting an illness quietly. Silently. Alone. Not because he didn't trust her. But because he didn't want to worry her. All those late nights. Those receipts. That strange scent. They weren't a sign of betrayal. They were signs of a man trying to protect the woman he loved. His changed phone password? It wasn't another woman. It was medical reports. His silence wasn't distance. It was pain. 2 days passed. No messages. No calls. Maheen broke down, convinced he had left her. But fate had something else planned. While looking through a drawer, she found a sealed envelope. Her name written in Arhan's handwriting. It said, "If one day I can't come back." Her breath froze. Inside were hospital bills, doctor reports. And a note from him. Maheen, I didn't want to scare you. I'm fighting this quietly because I want you to smile. When the time is right, I'll tell you everything. The letter fell from her hands. Tears fell from her eyes. And the truth hit her harder than anything else. He wasn't drifting away. He was suffering alone. Just then, her phone rang. Unknown number. With shaking hands, she answered. Hello, is this Mrs. Arhan? Her voice barely came out. Yes, it is. The caller replied. Please come to the hospital immediately. He's asking for you. The world stopped. Her breath stopped. And she ran. Because now she knew the truth. The city lights blurred as Maheen ran down the street, her breath breaking, her heart pounding louder than the storm in her chest. Every step echoed with guilt, regret, fear. For the first time, she wasn't running away from something. She was running toward the truth. The truth she refused to see for months. The night air was cold, but the realization burning inside her was colder. She whispered to herself. Please, please let him be okay. The automatic doors of the hospital slid open. The smell of disinfectant, the quiet hum of machines, the cold fluorescent lights, everything hit her at once. She paused for a moment. Her hands trembled. Her heart felt like it would collapse. A nurse glanced at her. Ma'am, are you Mrs. Arhan? Maheen nodded, barely holding herself together. Please follow me. The hallway felt endless. Every step louder, heavier, sharper. The nurse opened a door where a doctor waited inside, his expression calm but serious. He spoke gently. Mrs. Maheen, your husband has been under our care for months. He insisted on handling everything alone. Her heart stopped. Alone. The doctor nodded. He didn't want you to worry. His condition required regular checkups, tests, and a treatment plan. But he pushed through quietly, too quietly. It felt like someone had pulled the ground from beneath her. Every late night. Every change in scent. Every locked phone screen. It was all a story she never read. Because she never bothered to open it. The doctor continued. He talked about you a lot. He said you worry too much. He said he wanted your smile, not your fear. Tears rolled down her face. She whispered. I should have been there. The hallway outside his room felt like a tunnel, long, silent, suffocating. Every picture on the wall blurred. Every footstep felt like a countdown. Her mind replayed everything, her doubts, her accusations, her silence, and his. She realized something painful. He was fighting for life. She was fighting imaginary shadows. She reached the room's door. Her hand froze on the handle. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. What if I'm too late? When she finally pushed the door open, the world inside was different. Soft beeping of monitors. A slow steady rhythm. A quiet room drenched in white light. And on the bed lay Arhan. Pale. Weak. But alive. Maheen's breath broke. She walked closer, each step heavier than the last. Arhan opened his eyes slowly. And the moment he saw her, a tired smile appeared. Maheen, you came. Her tears fell instantly. I should never have left your side. He shook his head gently. Even in this state, he was comforting her. You shouldn't cry. I never wanted that. She sat beside him, carefully taking his hand, the same hand she once pushed away, the same hand she doubted. Her voice broke. Why didn't you tell me? He replied softly. Because I didn't want you to live in fear. I thought, if I got better quietly, you'd never have to feel the pain. Her heart shattered. But I felt pain anyway. I thought you were leaving me. Arhan gave a small laugh, weak but genuine. Leave you? Maheen. I was only trying to stay long enough for us. For our future. That's all I wanted. Her tears fell onto his hand. she whispered. I doubted you. I doubted everything, and all you did was love me. He squeezed her hand slightly. We all make mistakes. But his eyes held a sadness he didn't speak. A sadness deeper than her regret. After a pause, Arhan spoke again, his voice low. Maheen, there's something else I need to tell you. Her heart tightened. What is it? He looked away, struggling for strength. The treatment isn't reacting the way we hoped. Silence dropped like a stone. No sound. No breath. Just the slow beep of the monitor. Maheen's world cracked open. What do you mean, not reacting? He took a slow breath. It means, the next few weeks matter more than anything. Her body went cold. Arhan, please don't say that. He gave her a soft look, a look full of love, fear, and acceptance. I don't want to scare you. I just want you to know that whatever time I have, I want it with you. Her tears became unstoppable. I wasted so much of it doubting you. He shook his head again. Then stop wasting the rest by blaming yourself. She leaned closer, her forehead touching his hand. I'm here now. I'm not leaving. Not for a second. Arhan smiled weakly. That's all I need. Her voice trembled as she whispered. I promise. I'll spend every moment making up for the ones I ruined. Arhan whispered back. Then stay. Talk to me. Tell me everything you wanted to say. And she did. She told him everything, her fears, her doubts, her mistakes. He listened, even when his eyes grew heavy. And somewhere in that quiet room, filled with machines and shadows, their hearts met again. Just as Arhan closed his eyes to rest, he whispered something so soft she barely heard it. Maheen, there's still one more thing you don't know. Her head snapped up. What do you mean? He opened his eyes again, tired, but filled with something heavy. Someone kept making things worse between us. Maheen froze. What are you talking about? Arhan swallowed, his voice thin. Someone close to you, someone you trust, wasn't honest with you. Her mind raced. Someone close. Someone she trusted. Nasheen? Before she could ask further, Arhan drifted into sleep, exhausted, his breathing soft. But his last words echoed in the room. Someone close to you. And suddenly, Episode 1's puzzle pieces came together in a frightening way. The hospital room was silent except for the soft rhythm of the machines. Maheen sat beside Arhan's bed, her eyes swollen from tears, but her mind wide awake. Arhan's last words echoed over and over. Someone close to you, someone you trust, wasn't honest with you. Those words clawed at her heart. Who? Why? How long? As Arhan slept peacefully, Maheen sat in the dim glow of the bedside lamp, piecing together every moment she had doubted him. And slowly, painfully, a familiar face kept rising in her mind. Nasheen. Her mind drifted back to the days before everything fell apart. Nasheen had always been there, ready with advice, ready with warnings, ready with doubts. Too ready. She remembered Nasheen's voice clearly. Men don't stay loyal forever, Maheen. He's too quiet. Quiet men hide things. He probably has someone else. At the time, those words felt like concern. Now, they felt like poison. Why had she listened? Because fear is louder than logic. And Nasheen knew exactly where Maheen's fears lived. Maheen stood up from her chair and walked to the window, her reflection trembling in the glass. She whispered to herself. Nasheen, what did you do? Memories poured in. Nasheen showing random stories of cheating men. Nasheen pointing at harmless things and giving them dark meanings. Nasheen making Maheen feel insecure about her own marriage. And then, Maheen remembered something else. The day Arhan came home late, Nasheen had texted her before he even walked in. See? He's avoiding you again. But how did she know he wasn't home yet? Maheen's breath hitched. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Just then, Arhan stirred. Maheen rushed back to him. He opened his eyes slowly, the exhaustion deep but his smile still tender. You didn't sleep? She shook her head. I'm not leaving you alone. Arhan whispered. I'm glad you're here. But she couldn't shake the storm inside her. Maheen asked gently. Arhan, what did you mean? Who wasn't honest with me? He exhaled softly, his eyes closing again. Not now. I'll tell you when I can talk longer. His voice was weak. Too weak. She didn't push him. But she also didn't forget. Morning sunlight crept into the room, warm but unwelcome. Maheen spent the night awake, thinking, analyzing, reliving every moment. Her phone buzzed. A message from Nasheen. Heard your husband's at the hospital. Are you okay? Maheen froze. She hadn't told Nasheen anything. Not a word. So how did Nasheen know? Her heart dropped to the floor. She typed back slowly. How did you find out? Nasheen replied instantly. Oh, someone mentioned it. A lie. A quick, sloppy lie. Now Maheen's doubts weren't doubts anymore. They were truth-demanding answers. Maheen stepped out of the hospital room into the quiet hallway. She dialed Nasheen. The phone rang. And Nasheen answered with fake concern. Maheen. Oh my God, I was so worried. Maheen cut her off. How did you know where he is? Silence. Then Nasheen spoke carefully. I just guessed. Maheen felt anger rising, not loud anger, but cold, sharp anger. You knew things about my marriage before I did. You knew when he wasn't home. You filled my head with doubts. Nasheen swallowed audibly. Maheen, don't jump to conclusions. Maheen's voice trembled. Did you want us to break? There was another silence. A dangerous one. And then Nasheen said something that chilled Maheen to the bone. Some marriages aren't meant to last, Maheen. I just helped you see that sooner. Maheen's breath stopped. This wasn't concern. This wasn't friendship. This was interference. Manipulation. Jealousy. And it had cost her months of peace. And nearly cost her the love of her life. Maheen returned to Arhan's room. She sat beside him and held his hand tightly. She whispered. I know who it is. Arhan opened his eyes weakly. She continued. I know who poisoned everything between us. His breathing grew shallow. He squeezed her hand, barely. Then he whispered. Be careful, it's deeper than you think. Her heart skipped. Arhan, what do you mean? But he didn't answer. His eyes closed again, not from avoidance, but from exhaustion. Maheen felt fear fill her chest. What was deeper? What else was hidden? What else did she not know? While rearranging Arhan's belongings on the bedside table, Maheen noticed something. His phone. Unlocked. He must have used it before sleeping. Her heart pounded. Not out of suspicion. But out of the need to finally see the truth. Inside his messages, everything was normal. But then she found something she never expected. A chat with Nasheen. Her breath froze. She opened it. And what she saw shattered her completely. Months of messages. Nasheen telling Arhan that Maheen complained about him. Nasheen twisting Maheen's words. Nasheen warning Arhan that Maheen didn't trust him anymore. Nasheen pretending to protect Maheen. While breaking their marriage from the inside. Arhan's replies were always patient, always polite. He kept saying, I will talk to her myself. He never believed Nasheen fully. But he kept everything inside because he didn't want to hurt Maheen by exposing her own friend. Maheen covered her mouth, tears falling silently. This wasn't just betrayal. This was manipulation. This was sabotage. By someone she trusted. Maheen wiped her tears and held Arhan's hand. She whispered, "I'm so sorry for everything she did to us." As she leaned closer, Arhan opened his eyes slightly. With a weak voice, he said, "Maheen, it wasn't just her." Maheen froze. "What? Who else?" He took a slow, painful breath. "There's someone else involved." Her heart stopped. Her breath locked in her chest. "Someone else? Who?" Before she could ask, Arhan slipped back into sleep, leaving Maheen with the darkest question of all. If it wasn't only Nasheen, then who else was breaking their marriage from the shadows? The room fell silent, painfully silent. Arhan's words kept echoing. It wasn't just her. Maheen felt her heartbeat slow, then speed up, then crash into panic. Someone else? Someone other than Nasheen? Her hands trembled as she held the side of the hospital bed. A trembling whisper escaped her lips. "Who would do this to us, and why?" She looked at Arhan, pale, exhausted, fighting for strength. She couldn't ask him again. Not now. Not when even speaking seemed painful for him. But she needed answers. And the truth was now a living fire inside her chest. Maheen stepped out into the hallway, breathing heavily. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from Nasheen. "Babe, don't let anyone stress you. You just need space from him." Space? Space? Maheen's anger rose again, cold, sharp, controlled. She typed nothing. Only stared. As she was about to put the phone away, another message popped up. But this time, it wasn't Nasheen. It was from her mother-in-law. Maheen's blood ran cold. The message read, "Beta, don't overthink. Things happen. Marriage is compromise." But something was off. Very off. Not once had Maheen told her mother-in-law about the fight. Not once had she mentioned the hospital. So how did she know? A sudden chill ran down Maheen's spine. Had she been talking to Nasheen? Or worse, poisoning Arhan from her side? Suddenly, memories she had buried came rushing back. The small, subtle ways Arhan's mother interfered. "Beta, a wife must adjust more. Men get tired, don't ask too many questions. Arhan is stressed because you keep doubting." At the time, Maheen thought it was traditional advice. Normal. Harmless. But now? Now every sentence felt like a carefully placed thread in a web of confusion. She remembered one particular day, the day everything truly cracked. The day Maheen had confronted Arhan about coming home late. He had looked genuinely confused, genuinely hurt. But later, Maheen remembered something. His mother had called her right before that fight. And she had said, "Maybe Arhan doesn't share things with you anymore." At the time, it felt like sympathy. Now it felt like strategy. Maheen leaned against the hallway wall, feeling the truth tighten around her chest. Nasheen wasn't the only voice whispering doubts into her ear. Arhan's mother had been whispering into his. Nasheen and his mother. From two sides. Feeding two different fires. Maheen understood now. They hadn't acted together. No. They had acted separately. But the damage they caused had collided. Right in the center of Maheen and Arhan's marriage. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Oh my God, both of them broke us." A painful tear rolled down her cheek. Maheen returned to the room, still shaken, only to find someone already inside. Standing beside Arhan's bed was his mother. The woman turned slowly, her expression unreadable. Maheen froze. The air between them grew electric. Sharp, heavy, almost suffocating. Arhan's mother forced a shallow smile. Beta, you should go home. You look tired. But Maheen heard the unsaid message beneath the gentle tone. Leave. Let me control this moment. Let me control him. Maheen stepped closer. I'm staying. Her voice was steady. Strong. Unshakable. For the first time in months. The older woman narrowed her eyes. You think sitting here will fix what you ruined? Maheen inhaled sharply. Ruined? Ruined? The accusation sliced deep. Before she could respond, Arhan's mother added. You pushed him away. Your doubts, your questions, you did this. And just like that. Everything clicked. Every time Maheen doubted herself. Every time she blamed herself. Every time she felt like she was losing Arhan. Those were seeds planted by someone who wanted control. Someone who wanted influence. Someone who didn't want to share Arhan's life with Maheen. Maheen whispered softly. I didn't ruin anything. But I know who did. The room fell silent. Dangerously silent. Arhan's mother straightened her shawl, her face turning strict, cold. Then she said something that struck Maheen like lightning. I knew from the first day, you weren't right for him. Maheen's breath caught. The first day? She continued. You made him soft. You distracted him. He was supposed to focus on his business, not run behind your emotions. Maheen stared at her in disbelief. This wasn't concern. This wasn't motherly protectiveness. This was resentment. Possessiveness. Ego. A long, painful truth surfaced. This woman never wanted Maheen in Arhan's life. And she had done everything quietly, subtly, manipulatively. To push her out. Maheen didn't shout. Didn't argue. Didn't break. Instead, she stepped closer to her mother-in-law and said very quietly. I'm not leaving him. The older woman frowned. Maheen continued. You can blame me. You can hate me. You can twist everything I say. Her voice grew stronger. But I will not let anyone hurt him again. Not you. Not Nasheen. No one. For the first time. The woman's eyes showed fear. Real fear. Because Maheen wasn't the silent, confused woman she used to be. She was standing firmly. Protectively. Like a wall. Just then, Arhan stirred. Both women turned instantly. His eyes opened halfway. Weak, but searching. Maheen. She rushed to him. I'm right here. He looked over at his mother. A flicker of discomfort crossed his face. Then he whispered. Mom, please, let me talk to Maheen alone. His mother froze. The words hit her harder than any argument. Maheen felt her heart tighten. He wanted her. Not anyone else. Not the voices that manipulated him. Not the shadows that divided them. Just her. His mother clenched her jaw, controlled her emotions, and stepped back. But before leaving, she whispered to Maheen. This isn't over. Maheen looked at her fearlessly. It absolutely is. After the mother left, Maheen sat beside Arhan. He took her hand weakly. I'm sorry, you had to hear her. Maheen shook her head gently. I know everything now. I know about Nasheen. And I know about your mom's side too. Arhan's eyes filled with guilt. But then. Something shifted in his expression. A deeper worry. A darker fear. He whispered. Maheen, you still don't know the full truth. She froze. What do you mean? His voice cracked as he spoke. Someone else told them things. Maheen's stomach dropped. Someone else? Who? Arhan swallowed painfully. Looked into her eyes. And said. Someone from your side. Her breath stopped. Her world spun. Someone. From her family? Her jaw trembled. Who is it, Arhan? He whispered. Your own. His voice suddenly collapsed. The monitor beeped loudly. Nurses rushed in. And Maheen stood frozen. With only half a truth. And a new nightmare. The final betrayer was someone she never imagined.